Hello, welcome to Game On, the show that takes back what it said about praying for snow last week. It's turned to ice and we don't like it anymore.
I don't know, we can always have a snowball fight!
Now that's clearly made of paper and you missed. Grow up.
Coming up this week.
Stabbing.
Shooting.
And time travel. You know, we live in cynical times. Case in point, you can count the things Johnny is mentally capable of getting excited about on one hand. For instance, muffins.
Yep, like those.
Coffee.
Goes well with a muffin.
Otters.
Do enjoy a good otter.
You do. But if there's one thing guaranteed to excite Johnny almost to incontinence, it's a new Assassin's Creed game.
Yep, Ezio is back and he's better than ever. Well, technically Ezio's still dead, but Desmond is back and he's reliving better ancestral memories than ever.
Assassin's Creed Brotherhood takes the story to a Borgia-controlled Rome as you try to recover the stolen Apple of Eden and prove there's no better assassin than
Ezio Auditore.
But just how well does Brotherhood follow on from AC2?
Assassin.
Well, firstly, the new environment is huge. It was a simple trick setting the game in just one city, but the resulting increase in scale is fantastic.
The characters, lighting effects and buildings are impressive as ever, complete with a refreshing new take on the assassin aesthetic.
Rome has sunk into darkness.
As with the last title, there are one or two issues with the animation and the odd bit of screen tear every once in a while, but overall it's nothing too bad.
You'll also do well to spot them as often this time round, as the gameplay is far more immersive than any AC title yet. If you thought Brotherhood would just turn out to be Assassin's Creed 2.5, 10 minutes behind the wheel is more than enough to convince you otherwise.
The combat's had a much needed revamp, making it less rigid. The whole system works more dynamically with your movements, meaning you don't have to spend so much time waiting for others to attack before pulling off a cynical counter kill.
That said, the new counter kills are frankly stunning. The overall game experience is also far more engaging. For instance, in AC2 it was easy to ignore your duties to renovate Monteregione, which only really provided you with a bit more cash. Now though, restoring the city is tied in much more closely with the story, making the renewal of Rome a key part of the plot.
Basically, with the city under the influence of the Borgia, you have to claw territory back piece by piece before you can invest in and open up shops, like tailors, blacksmiths and art dealers. How do you claw back the territory? Well, you have to infiltrate a Borgia stronghold and assassinate the captain before torching the place and casually walking away.
Nice. On top of that, Brotherhood features far more Prince of Persia-style platforming bits as you take on the wolf-like followers of Romulus. While considerably more numerous, they are less complex and thereby less frustrating than the assassin's tombs of the last game, making them fun, bite-sized challenges with a satisfying payoff.
Indeed, challenge is the name of the game in Brotherhood.
I thought Brotherhood was the name of the game in Brotherhood.
I'm going to punch you. Anyway, when you embark on a new task, the game offers you a full synchronization challenge, basically setting gameplay conditions for a full score. This could be anything from killing a Borgia captain in a certain way to completing a layer of Romulus in under 8 minutes.
They're simple, they're optional, but still they add great depth to the experience and also encourage a more varied gameplay style.
You are the leader of the assassins now.
So basically, between the Borgia Towers, layers of Romulus and sync challenges, Brotherhood takes all the best gameplay moments from the Assassin's Creed franchise and offers them to you both in massive quantities and on your own terms.
There are more than enough of these set pieces to keep you busy for hours without even touching the main quest.
A new Rome will rise.
Of course, before release, one of the biggest
and most exciting
selling points of Brotherhood was the ability to recruit assassins.
Assassin! The liberation of Roma has begun.
By saving a citizen, you earn their loyalty, letting you train them up and send them on missions, or call them to help you in battle.
While adding yet more depth to the experience, it has to be said this area feels a little tacked on, and can quite frankly be ignored if it's not something you enjoy.
Don't get us wrong, building up a team of assassins is no bad thing, but like the economy system in AC2, it just feels a bit rough around the edges. Our bet is the next Assassin's Creed will feature an updated version of the system, which is both more relevant and rewarding.
So in conclusion, Brotherhood has added all new depth to the franchise, not necessarily in the storyline or even through recruiting assassins, but in the way the game's economy plays out.
By offering a huge number of set pieces amid a typically rich story, Brotherhood becomes a brilliantly immersive title with a pace you can set yourself.
The multiplayer is the same great experience we mentioned in our multiplayer hands-on special, but if there's one thing we really loved about Brotherhood, it's the addition of the crossbow.
Yep, the crossbow was featured as early on as the opening cinematic for the original Assassin's Creed, before becoming conspicuously absent from the game itself.
Finally though, it's a fully fledged franchise feature, so on behalf of gamers worldwide, we'd like to say well done to Ubisoft for eventually making good on their promises. Guys, it only took you 3 years.
Unsurprisingly, if you saw our review, we're still playing GoldenEye 007 on the Wii here at Game On. After all, it does basically allow you to relive your childhood.
Which in your case would mean playing a 4-player deathmatch even though you're the only one in the room?
Yeah, well, moving on. If GoldenEye 007 has one thing, it's mileage, especially with bonus cheats like DK mode.
Oh, you can't call it that.
What? Why not?
Well, DK Donkey Kong mode is obviously a Nintendo registered trademark, whereas GoldenEye 007 is now owned by Activision, so they can't call it DK mode. They want us to call it Big Head mode.
A political correctness gone mad. Well, the thing is, when you're in DK mode,
Big Head mode,
you can't actually play as James Bond.
What?
Yep, it seems Daniel Craig didn't really fancy being given the big head treatment, as the secret agent doesn't even appear in the menu with big head mode turned on. Instead, if you want to have fun with bulbous bonces, you have to settle for the supporting cast, like classic Johnny-alike Odd Job.
Hey!
Well, it's not my fault you're into martial arts, and while we're on the subject, can you stop pelting me with hats every time I turn a corner?
Oh, can't promise that.
Anyway, disappointed with the lack of 007 in DK mode.
Big Head mode!
It has left us wondering why we're not allowed to see Daniel Craig with an enormous noggin.
Maybe it's because his head's big enough already?
Nice. Of course, it's far more likely the studio just didn't want the newly rebooted, gritty James Bond looking silly.
Yeah, well, yeah!
Ah! You've got to be more careful with that.
Oh, come on, being careful's boring.
Nobody ever died being too careful. Words to live by.
Spoil sport. Almost it from us here at Game On, just time for a bit of time travel.
Oh, I'll get the TARDIS ready then, shall I?
Wrong device.
Bill and Ted's phone box?
Also incorrect.
Hot tub time machine!
No.
I'm telling you, this sale is a joke.
Yep, it feels like we've been waiting for all time to get our first glimpse of the new Back to the Future game, but now the first trailer's finally here.
Appearing exclusively on game trailers earlier this week, we got our first look at the all-new Back to the Future adventure, currently being developed by Telltale Games for PC, Mac, iPhone and PS3.
It's a quirky, cartoony take on the classic film franchise, complete with some fantastic voice acting.
Good luck.
Believe it or not though, while Christopher Lloyd has reprised his role, it isn't actually Michael J. Fox voicing Marty.
Did they clone him?
No, that's not possible yet.
Did they clone him in the future?
You're an idiot.
Doc, where are you?
Anyway, there's no future release date for Back to the Future the game as yet, that would just be too complicated, but we're still slightly more excited than is strictly acceptable for two grown men.
We'll be bringing you much more on Back to the Future the game as it moves further into, well, the future and an eventual release date.
Anyway, that's it from us for this week. We're going to learn parkour, then start an Assassin's Guild.
Unless we break our legs, which is, well, likely.
Yeah, more gaming gracelessness next week. That's well written.
Thanks.
Good. Assassin's Creed, but... It's badly
Well spoken. As with the last title, there are 1 or 2 issues with animation and the... I don't think there's a picture for it, but you can kick people in the balls now. Really? With a tap of A, you just kick them in the nads.
Tap of the A, kicking the nads.
Tap in the A. So in conclusion, Brotherhood has added... Oh, it's difficult not to say conclusion in your nose when you've got a cold. In conclusion, maybe it's because his head's big enough already?
Nice. Of course, it is far more likely the studio just didn't want the newly rebooted looking silly.
Yeah, well, I mean...
yeah! Ah! You have to be more careful with that.
Oh, come on, being careful's boring.
Didn't know when you were going to throw it at me.
Sorry.
That crept up, it's fine.
Ha ha! Nobody ever died from being too careful. Words to live by. Pfft. Almost it from us here at Game On. Just time for a bit of time travel.
Well, I'll get the TARDIS ready, shall I?
Wrong device.
Skills.
Mumford and Sons. Oh, go for it. No, no. Currently being developed by Telltale Games for Mac PC.
Very easy to say that. Telltale.
Telltale. I've got a cold. Currently being developed by Telltale Games for PC.
No, didn't work.